These two sides have met, two teams steeped in tradition. Let's now join Stephen Phillips and take a closer look at both clubs' histories.
While vintage newsreels like this footage of the 1938 Grand Final, won by the Blues, gives just a taste of this century-old rivalry between Collingwood and Carlton, television brought the greatest clashes in football into households around the nation. In 1967, we were introduced to a youngster named Jesaulenko, and for more than a decade he'd be the centre of attention. He'd take the biggest marks. He'd kick the miracle goals.
Jesaulenko, a left footer. There's nobody there. Look at this. It's bounced through.
He'd feel every bump.
He is out cold.
It was Jesaulenko who helped Carlton back into the upper echelon of football powers and set up some of the great showdowns between the two sides in the late 60s and early 70s. While Carlton had a great goal kicker and mercurial player in Jezza, Collingwood had the idol of the football world in mop-topped spearhead Peter McKenna. If it wasn't Jezza who stole the show, it was Macca, a lad with a lightning lead for a big man and an impeccable kick for goal. McKenna helped set up the 1970 final series and one of the greatest grand finals of all. In any review of these two great power teams in the history of the AFL, the 1970 grand final was and must still remain the standout. Carlton had lured Ron Barassi from Melbourne in 1965 and he had set up the revival of the once proud club with a flag in 1968. In 1970, his side trailed by 44 points at half-time. Barassi gambled. He swung an unknown named Teddy Hopkins into action. Hopkins kicked 4, Collingwood faltered, and the Blues won by 10 points. There have been memorable moments in history. John Nichols broke the league record for games played against Collingwood in 1974. 3 years later, the Magpies won by 102 points, inflicting Carlton's heaviest loss. Peter Moore took the mark of the year. And in 1979, Wayne Harmes produced a miracle and set up the goal that would enable Carlton to again end Collingwood's grand final dreams.
It's rolling towards the boundary line and Harmes almost makes ground. He tips it back to Sheldon. That's a goal! Oh, what a goal! If you don't mind!
We were introduced to new goal-kicking sensations. A youngster with a proud Macedonian heritage named Dakos. In 1981, he kicked 7 to keep Collingwood undefeated after 6 rounds. In the grand final that year, it would be a veteran, however, who took the honours. The coolest dude in league football, the unflappable Bruce Dool, who kept Collingwood's nightmare alive. In the early 80s, we met Peter Bosustow, a high flyer from the West. We also met Warren Ralph, who needed to goal from this kick after the siren to draw their clash in 1984.
He fires. He's got it, I think. He's missed it.
These clashes have never been for the faint-hearted. Dennis Banks was suspended for 3 matches after David Rhys-Jones was decked in 1986. In the past, the rivalry was contested at Prince's or Victoria Parks, with the finals at the MCG. In the 80s, however, the matches were generally held on a neutral ground at Waverley and attracted huge crowds every year. Game number 200 saw Carlton home by a goal in 1989.
It won't be a draw, that's a goal!
Many of the greats gathered here at the MCG will have memories, perhaps of Stephen Silvani flying, perhaps glimpses of Peter McKenna sending another drop punt towards goal, or Ian Robertson bursting from the centre. It's been a rivalry that's rich in tradition and heavy on memories. In fact, it's what football is all about.
Just some of the great moments that both Carlton and Collingwood have given football lovers over 100 years.